Konnichiwa, Jaya desu. So welcome to part 17 of our series in conversational Japanese. And in this episode, I would like to go over the numbers from 0 all the way up to 10. And as usual, I would like to use the Japanese alphabet to go over the pronunciation of each one of these numbers. So let's begin. Okay, so first up we have the number 0, which in Japanese has two pronunciations. One is zero and the other is re. And zero, as you can imagine, is the Japanese adaptation of the word zero. And so the Japanese themselves will use both of these depending upon the sentence that they're trying to say. And in some sentences, even in Japanese, the word zero may be more appropriate than the word re. Now, what you'll notice is the spelling of the word zero uses symbols that are unfamiliar to the alphabet that we've covered. And that's because it uses a different form of alphabet called katakana rather than hiragana. And actually, they're basically exactly the same alphabet. The only thing is the symbols used are different. And why would Japanese have two different alphabets consisting of the same letters? And the reason for that is exactly this. The katakana alphabet is used for words that were adapted from different foreign languages. So in this case, since zero is a foreign adaptation, they use the katakana format to represent the word using the Japanese letters ze and ro. Now, if you recall, there has never been a letter ze that we covered in the alphabet, and that's because it's one of the modified letters from the basic Japanese alphabet. Now, if you recall, there was the column sashi suse so, and in there the fourth letter is the letter se. Well, if you add two dots to that, then you change the pronunciation of se to ze. So here you have the katakana representation of the letter se with two dots on it to make it ze. Now the second letter is of course the letter ro from the column lariru ro, but in this case once again it's shown in katakana rather than hiragana. Now the other pronunciation of zero in Japanese is re, and it uses the two letters re and i. So if you put it together you get rei, or faster rei. So the two pronunciations of zero in Japanese is the word zero and the word rei. Next we have the number 1, which in Japanese is pronounced ichi. So it consists of two Japanese letters, the letters I and the letter chi. And when you put it together, it becomes ichi. So once again, it's not itchy as you might see if you are spelling this using English letters. It is pronounced ichi. So next we have the number 2, which in Japanese is ni. So it consists of only one Japanese letter, which is obviously ni, of the column nani nune no. And although you may want to try to stretch this out and say ni, it isn't the joint on your leg, but it's pronounced a much shorter ni. Next up we have the number 3, which in Japanese is san. So it consists of two Japanese letters, the letters sa and un. And when you put it together, it becomes san, or faster san. And now for the number 4, we have two pronunciations again. This time the pronunciations are yon and shi. So depending upon the situation, one or the other will be used. So for example, if you're just reciting the numbers from 1 to 10 or just counting numbers, then you would usually use shi. So it would be ichi ni san shi rather than ichi ni san yon. However, depending upon situations, such as if you were to ask somebody how old they are and they say they are 4 years old, then they would usually say yonsai rather than shisai. And so it all depends upon the situation. Even in the counting, as you get to higher numbers, you will usually use yon rather than shi. However, in the first numbers from 1 to 10, shi is often used if you're just reciting numbers. As for the letters, Yong uses two letters, which are the letters Yo and the letter Ng. And when you put it together, it becomes Yong. And of course, for Shi, he uses one letter, which obviously is Shi. Okay, so next we have the number 5, which in Japanese is Go. So it uses the letter Ko with two dots on it. And when you put two dots on the letter Ko, then it becomes Go. So Ko, of course, is from the column Kakikuke Ko. And when you put two dots, it becomes Go. So the number 5 is pronounced Go. Not go as in I'm going somewhere, but a very short Go. Okay, so we have number 6 next, which is pronounced Roku in Japanese. So it uses two letters. One is Ro and the other is Ku. And of course, Ro comes from the column Nariru de Ro. And so if you put it together, it becomes Roku. Now, it isn't Roku as in using a R, and it's of course not Roku using L, but it's Roku using the letter Ro from Nariru de Ro. Now, if you don't know how to pronounce the letters in Nariru de Ro and are trying to use R's or L's, then I would suggest that you go back to lesson number 11, where it shows how to properly pronounce those letters in the column. Okay, so in any case, the number 6 is once again Roku. Okay, so next we have the number 7, which in Japanese has two pronunciations again. This time it's Nana and Shichi. And similar to 4, which had two pronunciations, if you're just reciting numbers, then you will usually use Shichi. It's usually not as constrained as the number 4, where usually you would use Shi when you're counting from 0 to 10. However, in this case, you can use Nana sometimes, but for the most part, people favor Shichi. However, again, just like for 4, it all depends upon what sort of things you're counting. So in the case of age, for example, if you were to ask somebody how old they are and they were 7 years old, they would usually answer nanasai rather than shisai. And so nana is used under that circumstance. So it all depends on the situation. But right now, I'm focusing on just reciting the numbers themselves. And under that situation, you would use shichi. So again, for the letters, the word nana uses the letter na twice. So na, or faster nana. And for the word shichi, you would use the Japanese letter shi from the column sashitsuse so, and chi from the column tachitsute to. And so if you put it together, you get shi-chi, or faster, shichi. Okay, so next we have the number 8, which in Japanese is Hachi. And it uses the two Japanese letters ha from the column hahifuheho and chi from the column tachitsute to. And if you put it together, you get Hachi, or faster, Hachi. Now, people may try to pronounce it Hachi, like that name of the dog in that movie Hachi, but it's actually Hachi. And in fact, that dog's name in Japanese is actually pronounced Hachi as well, Hachiko, rather than Hachiko. So yeah, put it together and pronounce it properly. It's not Hachi, but Hachi. And next we have the number 9, which in Japanese is Q. So it's spelled with 3 letters. They are Ki, Yu, and U. And if you notice, the U is slightly smaller. And when you have it that way, instead of individually pronouncing each letter, which would be Ki-yu, you actually would take the U and blend it with the letter in front of it, which in this case would be Ki. So when you do that, the sound becomes Q instead of Ki-yu. And so then when you add the U, it becomes Q. So the sound of the Japanese pronunciation for number 9 is Q. And probably the easiest way to think about it is a game of billiards where it's pronounced exactly the same way as the cue ball. So I guess if you were to play billiards in Japan, then of course the number 9 ball would actually be called the cue ball. Okay, and finally we have the number 10, which in Japanese is ju. So it uses the 3 letters ji, yu, and u. And just like for the number 9, the middle letter of yu is smaller, so instead of saying jiyu, you actually blend the yu with the previous letter of ji, and that makes it ju, and then with the u becomes ju. Now if you notice, the letter ji is one that we didn't cover in the alphabet, and that's because once again this is a modified letter from the basic alphabet, and it uses the letter shi and adds 2 dots to it, and when you do that, the shi becomes ji, and when you add the smaller u, it transforms to ju, and when you add the u, it becomes ju. So one more time, the Japanese pronunciation for the number 10 is ju. Okay, so now going back to review all of the numbers, we start with 0, which is zero or de, 1, which is ichi, 2, which is ni, 3, which is san, 4, which is yon or shi, 5, which is go, 6, which is roku, 7, which is nana or shichi, 8, which is hachi, 9, which is kyu, and 10, which is ju. So once again, 0 or re, ichi, ni, san, yon or shi, go, roku, nana or shichi, hachi, kyu, ju. Okay, so I hope you found that not too difficult to learn, and I hope you practice on this. Now, these are the numbers that you would do to basically recite counting from 0 to 10. In Japanese, depending upon what objects that you count, you would sometimes modify the numbers and the counting system. And so there are multiple ways of pronouncing the numbers depending upon what it is that you're counting, such as age, people, vehicles, objects, whatever. And so we could go over some of these later, but this becomes a little bit too complicated for just one episode. So anyway, I just wanted to cover these, and if you were to count and recite the numbers from 0 to 10, then it will go 0 or re, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, with 0 being either 0 or re. Okay, so I hope you found this episode to be quite informative, and I thank you once again for watching the video. And we will continue on with the conversational Japanese lessons, and I hope you keep on coming along with us in this adventure. And so thank you very much for watching this. If you have any comments, please post them in the comment section below. And until the next time, we wish you all the best. And as always, Jaya, nice day, everyone. さようなら。